Today I'm testing these heavy-duty moving bags. I'm gonna put one of these bags through the gauntlet to see actually just how heavy-duty they really are. Now the title says these will hold up to 220 pounds, but the detailed listing says 65 pounds. So what we're gonna do is load this up with 65 pounds. I'm gonna be loading it, I'm gonna be dragging it, I'm gonna be dropping it, and we're gonna spray it with water to see just how waterproof it actually is. I'm willing to sacrifice one of these bags to find out just how tough they really are. During this test, we're gonna be using this scorecard. We're gonna give the bag points for easy loading, usable capacity, handles and stitching, zipper performance under high pressure, heavy load performance, water resistance, and drop and abrasion resistance. If it scores the maximum amount in each category, it can score up to 100 points. With this set, you get 6 heavy-duty moving bags that pack completely flat, but open up to be 29 inches in length, 14 inches in width, and 13 inches tall. Opening up one of these bags is much quicker than assembling a flat cardboard box when you have to fold everything up and apply tape. Before we load this up with 65 pounds, let's take a look at the details of the bags. If we weigh all 6 bags when folded, together they only weigh 3 pounds, 8 1/4 ounces. And when we weigh a single bag, it's only 9 3/8 ounces. That's incredible considering the capacity and much lighter than a cardboard box. The material is heavy-duty weave that also claims to be water resistant. The stitching, especially around the handles, also appears to be heavy-duty. The zippers have nice handles and they operate smoothly. Here are the zippers with a microphone close by. Each bag includes a brightly colored card and an insert slot on each back so you can keep track of what's inside. The strap handles wrap all the way under the bag, and that's what gives these their real strength and stability. On one side of each bag, the zipper goes all the way down to the bottom of the bag, making loading from the side or the top a great option, packing these as full as possible. For our first test, I'm going to try fitting all these blankets into one bag. Because of the bag's movability, shoving these inside is actually pretty easy. I use the side zipper to make it easy to stuff in the final 2 blankets. When fully stuffed with my blankets, the moving bag only weighs 16 pounds. Depending on what you put into the bags, you can stack them on top of each other. Next, I'm going to try closing the zipper while the bag is stuffed to the brim with pillows. As you can see, the zipper closes smoothly and holds closed under the pressure. Now it's time to add some serious weight. We're actually going to go with 68 pounds, and the way that we're going to add up to that is by combining these canopy weights, which weigh in at 25 pounds, a 35-pound kettlebell, an 8-pound medicine ball, and a small blanket for a little extra weight and padding. Keep your eyes on the straps as my wife drops the weights into the bag. If you're going to be carrying these bags when they're this heavy, I recommend wearing work gloves because the straps can start to dig into your hands a little bit. So the total weight with the blanket is 70 pounds, and the bag actually feels very sturdy and strong, even when I shake it up and down. Carrying a 70-pound bag down the hall is not fun, but dragging it is, especially if you have an interested companion. After loading the bag with 68 pounds, I decided to try something that you should never do with these moving bags. I lifted 70 pounds using only one handle. These bags are not designed to be used this way. As you'll see, it put a tremendous amount of stress on the stitching. Originally, I was going to add more than 68 pounds. I was going to keep adding weight until the bag cracked. However, at 65 pounds, I found that the bag was very difficult for me to pick up and move around and do any of the testing with. So if I were you, I would never load these more than 65 pounds. Next, I lightened the load to 16 pounds and headed outside. The bag easily fit into the trunk of my car and surprisingly had almost 0 signs of wear and tear after dropping it, dragging it over bricks, and dragging over pavers and sharp gravel. The handle part on the bottom did become a little bit fuzzy from all of the dragging. Now let's see how well this handles water. For this test, I stuffed the bag with pillows so they'll be pressed against the inside of the bag. Then I stuck a paper towel between the pillow and the surface of the bag. First, I did a light spray, and you can see the water beating up and rolling off of the bag. When we check the paper towel, it's completely dry. So let's up the ante and spray a little longer and a little harder. This time the paper towel was mostly dry, but I did see 1 or 2 lightly wet spots. Now the ultimate, testing the zipper area for water resistance. I placed the paper towel right underneath the zipper, zipped it shut, and we sprayed not too much water, and the paper towel is soaking wet. So the zipper part is not waterproof at all. If you need to leave these outside and there's a chance of rain, I recommend covering the zippered area with a thick piece of waterproof tape. Now let's take a look at the final scorecard and see how well our heavy-duty moving bag did. For ease of loading, usable capacity, it scored a perfect score. Handles and stitching got an 18 out of 20, and that's because of how uncomfortable the handles are under a very heavy load, and the fact that it pulled through the bag, even though in that case I was lifting with only one handle. The zipper and heavy load scored perfect scores. Water resistance gets an 8 out of 10, and that's mainly because of the zippered area. And drop and abrasion resistance gets a 9 out of 10, and only a 9 because the bottom of the handle did start to become fuzzy after I was dragging it over everything. So the total score is 95%, and that is very, very good. Here are my final thoughts on these heavy-duty moving bags. My wife and I are actually moving very soon, and that's the reason I bought these. I will say this, we will be using these primarily for softer things, for bedding, pillows, clothing, things like that. You could stack this full of books. If you do that though, it's just gonna be a big hassle to lift it up. It might be easier for something like that to put into a cardboard box, because then you could stack the boxes on top of each other and use a dolly to move those things around. I don't believe that stacking a bunch of these on top of each other when they're filled with very heavy objects, unless they're perfectly flat like books, that's gonna be a problem. But for lighter weight objects around your house, if you're moving or you just want to use these for storage, or if you want to use them to store your holiday decorations, I think these things are fantastic. They don't take up any space hardly at all. When you compress them, after you're done using these, of course, you can fold them back up flat for storage. They hardly take up any space at all. But when you open them up, you've got plenty of room to put all kinds of things. I think these bags are fantastic, and I definitely recommend them. If you'd like to grab these bags, there's a link in the description below. Please do me a favor, click like on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.